answer, I understand, but oh well. It's going to be your reality someday. Anything else standing out to you here? Good old Mr. Big Bucks, yeah. That one's a nifty one, right? I mean, that's, yeah. I'm going to let you guys think about that one. Yeah. 19. Yeah. So the fraction approach, right? So obviously that means take each decimal and write it as a fraction, right? Okay. Yeah, so we did a few of those, right? So that's all right. So let's see. Let's do an example like that. So if I had 1.298 plus 4.3, what is this as a fraction?
Oh, you can multiply by the 1,000.
Well, it's just going to be 1298,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then plus
4,300
tenths, right? Be careful. That's just in the tenth spot, right? And I really want to make sure you guys understand. Is anyone still freaked out that I could put that one up here instead of in front? Isn't this definitely this? There's no question about that.
Oh,
It's one, and by the way, before I forget, and means decimal. Have you ever written out a check?
Yes.
Anybody ever written out a check?
Yeah.
No? I love it. We're in the day and age of everything's paid online. Certain things you have to pay with a check, so go you. I'm very jealous. If you write out a check, what's the only place you put the word and? When you're about to write the cents.
Yeah.
All right, and is the decimal place. Okay, I love it. Okay, just want to say that real quick. So this is 1 and 298 thousandths. There's no question about that. But what's 1,000 times 1 plus 298? Freaking 1298, right?
It's the same as like a division. Like, because, yeah, never mind.
Okay. You might have been onto something, but I'm not sure where that was going. And now, of course, you could just get LCD, right? Cool. Which is equivalent to lining up the fractions, because once you get an LCD, you just multiply by 100, which would kind of line the decimal points up, right? Maybe? So again, that's a little quick explainer based on fractions which they would have just gotten through, why you line the decimals up. Yep. I like it. That's different. It sounded like the beginning of some animal show. Something. What was that? I'm sorry, little dude. You have trouble? That was good. Let's see, which one did I want to talk about? Oh, look at number 21, guys. Look at number 21. How do you feel about that?
There's a problem like that in the.
Yeah, there is. Shit. It's almost like I make a test from prompts you do. It's like number 21. What do you guys, has anyone ever lived this experience? Anybody cook, bake, anything? No? Yeah? You're like, I just cut it somehow and hope. A little bit less flour, should be all right. How would you even do that problem? So it's, yeah, so we got, it takes 1 1/4, to be really honest, I just made these numbers up. I have no idea if they make physical sense. But let's just pretend like you can do 1 1/4 cups of flour, sounds about right, to make 4 dozen cookies. And how many is that? Well, let's just do 4 dozen, to be honest. We could make it 48, or we could just leave it as a number of dozens. Right? It's just sort of like a number of miles, a number of cups. How many cups are required to make 9 dozen cookies? So, basically, not a good suggestion.
Could you start with just 8 dozen cookies, cause that would be 2 of 4 dozen?
Interesting approach. I was gonna do that next, like different approaches, but let's do the textbook method first. And then I'm gonna kinda do what you just said.
So you would find out how much you need to make 1 dozen?
Okay, that's sort of like the next step of what you just said. I love you guys so much. All right, what's the textbook approach? What do we think? And that's basically what you said. Isn't this making a ratio right here? Not a ratio you want to see, but you bet. 1 1/4 cups makes 4 dozen. So the other ratio, if you're using the same recipe and you're being careful, it's got to be the same ratio. It's got to reduce to be the same thing. Same proportion, yeah. This is a proportion when you have 2 ratios equal to each other. Where does 9 go? Yeah, because that's where dozens are. And what do I put on the top? Yeah, X, because I don't freaking know what it is. So in algebra, we use X, so we don't just have to use empty spot, because how easy it is to keep track of empty spot. Not at all. It's not easy. So we just use an X. I don't know what this shit is, let's call it X. Okay.
So do 5/4 times 9.
Yeah, now we use that. So this is equal, which means this times this also equals this times this, right? That's that same thing we were just talking about earlier. So how should I really write this maybe to make this easier?
5/4.
Yeah, so it's 5/4 times 9, is that cool?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this problem, Corey? Okay. Now, what do you guys think? How would you keep going with this?
Multiply and then divide by 4.
Yeah, so 5/4 times 9, what's this? If you put this over 1, it might be easier to look at.
11 and 1/4.
Intriguing. So 45/4, let's keep it like this, believe it or not. How are you guys doing? Are you guys with me? I'm kind of doing, should really give you a second to think about it, but yes?
Did you multiply by 4?
You could, you totally could. That would actually make this easier. You could sort of cross multiply again. Right? Or, all right, so either I could kind of cross multiply, and then I could do what to get X by itself? Divide by 16. So 45/16 what?
Cups.
Cups of flour. All right, I like it. Become a 16. And then whatever the hell that is. All right. So you could do 45 divided by 16. I love the person who has a calculator in their kitchen. That would be awesome. But if you're the real big, you're just like, it feels about right. The other thing I could have done here, we all know what to do. Don't we divide by 4 to kill the 4?
Yeah.
But help me out. Anytime in an equation there's fractions, you basically make what you're doing into a fraction. So divided by 4 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/4. So if I multiply both sides by 1/4, I get, of course, the same thing. So 45/16 cups of flour. 45/16 cups is a little bit less than how many cups? So what number on the top would 16 go into? 48. We'll go in 3 times. So 45/16 is a little bit less than 3 cups. Yes?
Couldn't you just skip a step and cross cancel the 4s?
How do you mean no? Would you get the same answer?
I see.
2 things wrong with that. What is the, so guys, if you think something can cancel, how do you check? The only way things can cancel in an algebra problem is if the operations are opposite. So if you try to cancel a division, you better be multiplying. This is equal to.
Gotcha.
There's no multiplying. Yeah, good. Yeah, I like it. And let's go back. That's correct. Let's go back to the beginning and see if there's another way to do this problem, right? Because again, your students, you know, if you're trying to teach them, the worst thing in the world is you're trying to teach algebra and the student gets it some other way. Have you guys ever experienced this? Remember doing word problems and you got the answer, but you didn't do any extra? You're just like, it's 7. Why? Because it's freaking 7.
I saw it in my dreams. You know.
What's that?
I saw it in my dreams.
Oh, saw it in your dreams,
And
okay.
I'm like,
Gotcha. So, my example when I'm teaching algebra is if I was teaching driving school, if I was teaching them how to drive, and I said, your final exam is to drive to the mall. And the student walks to the mall, calls me, says, I'm at the mall, I pass, haha. And I'm like, the car's still here. Shit. I made it to the mall. That's what you told me to get to the mall. No, it's driving school. So when I'm teaching algebra class, I tell them, that's great, you got the answer. This is algebra class, right? But if you are trying to teach them algebra, but you have a student do it some other way, you do want to say, okay, that's actually correct. What you did is right, but we're trying to learn that shit. Maybe don't say shit. So what you were saying, right, was if 1 1/4 cups makes 4 dozen, then how do I make 8 dozen?
Just multiply 1 by 2.
Yes, and you have to be careful when you do that. So let's make this 5/4. Is that cool?
Yeah.
So what's 5? Is everybody cool with that? Does that make sense? If 5/4 cups makes 4 dozen, then to make 8 dozen, I need twice that, right? So what is twice 5/4?
10,
No.
10
Right?
more.
2 is over 1?
Yeah.
So 10/4, otherwise known as 5 halves, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now let's combine that with what Emily said, maybe?
Cammy.
Oh, I'm totally wrong. Screw you, Jeff. So what you said earlier was, let's figure out what 1 dozen is, right? So don't I currently know what 8 dozen? And don't I need to know what makes 9 dozen? How would I figure out how much for 1 dozen? Wouldn't I kind of do this the other way? I really want you guys with me because this is actually one thing I was going to teach today, and we might as well talk about it now because it came up. So 4 dozen is this, so 8 dozen is twice this. That only makes sense. So if 4 dozen is this, then 1 dozen is 1/4 of this, right? What is 1/4 of this? Let me write it down. 1/4 of 5/4? 5/16. Cups, blah, 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 blah. Now let's collect what we got. 5/16 cups makes 1 dozen. Good Lord, Jeff. What language? I don't know, man. Some ancient dead language. 5 halves cups. God, I really hope this comes out right. Is 8 dozen. So how do we get 9 dozen? Don't I just
Find a color.
add these together?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, add them, so I'm gonna have to get a common denominator. So 5, 6, I'm going a little fast, and I'm sorry. But I desperately, this hopefully just kind of, this is beautiful, it just should sort of make some sense. If I could very easily figure out 8 dozen, then I need 1 more, okay, let me figure out 1 dozen, and then I just add those together, right? Let's see if we get the same answer. So I need 5/16 plus 5 halves to make 9 dozen, right? So what is 9 doughs? 9 of doughs. So what is 5/16 plus 5 halves? Multiply by
40/16.
8. So I get 40/16 plus 5/16.
45.
45/16, which is what we got over there, right? Of course it is. Same problem, different method, yes?
So if you asked us a question on the test, would it be fine if we did that method?
If I just said,
Solve the problem.
if I just said, 1 1/4 got to make 4 dozen, how much to make 9? If I said, use proportions, then this is out, right? So guess what I'm probably gonna say. But still, you know, you can kind of do that on the side just to make sure your answer makes sense when you get it. Why not?
Yeah. Very little flour.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking these are very tiny. These are like tasting cookies.
But you had to put all the ingredients, so, you know, maybe it's like
Exactly. Maybe it's some other kind of stuff. Yeah, sure.
zucchinis.
Whatever helped save me from my crazy problem I made. All right. How do you guys feel about what we just did? You guys semi-okay? So just to kind of expand on what we just talked about, gonna take this away. If I set up a ratio, so for example, if there was, I got a really freaky example I'll do in a minute, but let me start with that. If there's 1 banana for every 5 people, right? If this is just a known fact, whenever you have 5 people, there's a banana, okay? Go with me. If 15 people gathered, how many bananas would appear? 3. Yeah, okay, that's simple, right? That's pretty simple. So how many bananas should there be? I don't know. Maybe so many bananas makes a pineapple. All right, that's pretty straightforward, correct? That's basically what we just did when we multiplied both sides by 2 earlier with the dozens. Okay, love you guys. So let's do this. All right. Yeah, all right, here we go. So this is gonna take this up a little bit. So have you guys ever heard, I don't know if this is really true, but let's say if we put a fish into an aquarium, the bigger the aquarium, the larger the fish will get. All right, I'm pretty sure that's semi-true. So I'm gonna make it like really true in this problem, okay? The ratio of weight of fish to, and this is in, oh boy, you guys are gonna love this problem. This is in ounces. To the volume of the aquarium in cubic inches, oh boy, is what, Jeff? I don't know. 1 to 13.52. How do you feel about that ratio? What does that ratio mean?
That for every cubic inches, the fish is gonna weigh 1 ounce.
Yeah, for every 13.52 cubic inches of space I give it, it's gonna grow to be 1 ounce in weight. So if I give it more space, it grows larger. Anybody in here have fish?
Yeah.
I used to have fish. You have fish? You have 1 fish? Beta fish? Beta fish, okay. That's when you want 1. Nobody else has fish? Anybody else has fish? You have fish?
Yeah.
How many fish?
2 beta fish.
Oh, you have 2 beta fish and 2 separate.
No, they're
They're the same.
the
Oh.
same.
They're good?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. I don't know enough about beta. I just thought they were all like, I'm the alpha beta. I'm the alpha. Shit, Greek alphabet. Okay.
Both betas.
Yeah, they're both betas, so they're all like.
Hey man, you're good.
Alright. And then you got the sigma fish. Anyway, none of that shit. Okay. So let me ask you one question before I ask you the real question. If I wanted the fish to end up weighing, let's see if you guys get this. If I want the fish to end up weighing, then the fish's name is fish. To end up weighing, it's too many freaking words. 7 ounces. How big of an aquarium should I give it? All right, maybe he's got 1 fin. Let's see if anybody's watching a certain show. No? Okay. There you go.
That was the end, right? It already ended?
Huh?
It already ended?
They ended it, yeah.
Yeah.
The finale happened.
That was too quick.
It was Moon Knight, by the way. It was the right answer. Nemo, I appreciate. If I want the fish to end up weighing 7 ounces, now this one you don't have to do any real work. Can you guys tell what, if I want 1 ounce means 13.52 cubic inches, what would 2 ounces need?
That times 2.
All right, so what would 7 ounces need?
That times 7.
That times 7. Okay, so what is that?
94.64.
94.64 cubic inches. Okay. Actually isn't very big, but let's not look too much at Jeff's numbers, all right? Just a math teacher, I don't know numbers. So, here's the real question. And by the way, let me know, does everybody get that? Is everybody cool with that? 1 foot has how many inches? 12, so 1 foot to 12 inches. So 2 feet have how many inches? 24, I'm not saying 5, right? This size, 5, right? Yeah, 24 inches, you with me? So you just multiply each side of the ratio. It's the same thing as building a fraction up, right? So what if my tank, I have a tank, is what those words say. I have a tank that is, I don't remember what my number was, but 168 cubic inches. How big of a fish am I gonna create? How massive of a fish will I create?
You would divide that into the ratio?
Maybe. So you can do it a couple different ways. One way you could always do it is to set up a what? Then we have 1 ounce to 13.52 cubic inches. Right? And what is it that I know? I know I have an aquarium that's so many cubic inches big. And what I want to know is how big of a fish will that make, right? Okay, I like it. Now, little shortcut for cross multiplying. Do I really have to cross multiply this? You can, you totally can. But do you understand, if I just multiply this up, isn't x by itself already?
Yeah.
So if I just move this up here, there's no need to move that up there because it would immediately come back down, right? And again, if you don't like that, you can just always cross multiply and then do what you need to do. But this will be 168 divided by 13.52. And then whatever the hell that is. That's like 11?
So would we write it? 12.430.
12.4.
I mean, round it up, it's
Yeah, I tell you where to round it.
4260355.
Yeah, so we'll say 12.43.
Yeah.
I like it. Ounces. That's how big of a fish I make. All right, now why does this make sense? If I wanted this to be, if I wanted this to be around 39, isn't that basically multiplied by 3 just about, if I want to estimate? So what did I multiply this by 3 then? How did I get the about 3? I said I want this to be 39. Where did 3 come from? The about 3.
If you multiplied that by 3.
Yes, so 39 divided by 13, right? So I want it to be 168. So wouldn't I just divide by this? Isn't that exactly what that ended up doing? Which is what I think you said to do in the first place, yeah? Okay. Maybe. So you can always fall back on setting up a ratio, proportion between 2 ratios and doing that, that's fine. But there are shortcuts sometimes. Okay, maybe. So let's look at cross multiplication for a minute. We sort of already did this kind of problem, but let me put this up here. All right, so real quick. All right, this is silly, but how would I do this? How would I solve this? That's what I should say. What's happening? Nothing different here. How would I solve this? Cross multiply. Right. So 19 times 7. I think it's 133. Real quick, guys. Watch this. A real life application of thinking strategies. 20 times 7 is 140. 19 is 1 less 7. 140 minus 7 is 133. Okay, and then you get 11. And then 11x, right? And then divide by 11 is that 2? All right, so that's not supposed to be a crazy problem.
12.09 repeat.
Neat. Yeah. I like it. So what about this one? Oh shit. Yeah. 3/4 over 30 equals x over 250. Huge. So go ahead and do that one. Oh wait. 3/4 over x gotta say, a lot of times when I'm teaching like algebra stuff is, in fact, any class, math does not give a shit what the details are. I have a fraction equals a fraction. The process doesn't change. Now, we give a shit what the details are. There's fractions inside my fractions, but the math, the first step doesn't change, right? So one side will be 3/4 times 2/5. And the other side will be 13x. What is 3/4 times 2/5?
3/10.
Good, because I can kill it's one of these two, so I get 3/10. I like it. And then, how do I solve for x?
Divide by, or,
Yeah, good. I want to divide by 13, and I've got a fraction, so I make it multiply by.
10, or,
If I want to divide by 13, it's the same thing as multiplying by, what's the reciprocal of 13?
1/13.
1/13. That doesn't, it's the same damn thing, right? They're both the same thing, but if I do this instead, it goes along with this fraction. So here the 13s cancel, right? And here, what's 1/13 times 3/10?
3 over 130. 3 over 30.
Yeah, 3 over 130. Crazy. Gross, right? Kind of gross. But, you know, I kind of expected something gross. And if you look at this, this means that 3/4 is the same part of 13 as 3/130ths is of 2/5. So ahead of time I could tell this is gonna have to be something really frickin' tiny. Yes?
I think I did it wrong. But I have like 3 over 10 equals 13x over 1.
Yeah,
So
okay.
3/10 equals 13x over 1. And then from there, you can cross multiply.
Good.
Yeah, so 3 equals 130 over x. And I divided by 1/3. Oh.
Yeah, it looks good.
Oh.
We kind of did something like that earlier
I see what I messed up.
when I think we were doing the flower problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just forgot to write the 3 on top. I just wrote 130. So I was just like that.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Exciting stuff. Okay. Let's see. All right. Let me see what you guys think about this. So try this one out. Well, you know there's going to be something. Yeah. All right. Got to sneak in some algebra, and obviously I don't care. You guys know algebra.
How did you word it earlier? So it would be x part of 8 is equal to x plus 1 part of 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
So whatever x is, it's the same part of 8 that one more than it is of 11. Yeah. So you kind of should be able to tell it's not going to be a whole number. Right?
Yeah.
We don't know quite what it's going to be yet, but. So what did you guys do?
Cross multiply.
Alright, that's crazy. So again, I got weird shit, math didn't care. And you're all like, I know math didn't care. So 11x equals,
8x plus 8.
good. Now comes in the part that's a little bit ahead where we are in the class, but behind where you guys should be.
Subtract.
Yep.
8x.
Subtract ax. Subtract. Sure, Jeff. 3x equals 8.
Divide by three.
So x is 8/3. Crazy sauce. What is? Can somebody tell me? I'm gonna check this. Because we're all crazy. What is 8/3 divided by 8? If I have 8/3 and I divide it amongst 8 people, we each get
1/3.
1/3. So 8/3 divided by 8 is 1/3. What is 8/3 plus 1? So LCD would be. LCD would be. What's under 1? 1. LCD would be 3. So 8/3 plus 3/3. 11/3. And what's 11/3 divided by 11? Same idea. 1/3. There you go. Not as gross as it would seem to check it. I like it. Okay. And then let's see, little bonus question, then we'll head out. We'll head out early again. It's crazy. Let's see. Sure, I like it. Couple different ways you could solve this, but let's see what you guys do. So what'd you guys do?
Cross multiply.
Okay, that's crazy. 25 equals x squared.
And then square root.
Good. So what'd you get?
X equals 5.
Positive or
Mm.
negative 12.
Say.
Positive or negative.
Good. I love it. Plus or minus 5. Right? Because what do you square to get 25? 5 or negative 5. So check it. 25 divided by 5 is 5 divided by 1. 25 divided by negative 5 is negative 5 divided by 1. Kick ass. Alright. Yeah, we're in a good spot. That's plenty. Giving you guys a little bit of a break here towards the end. So next time I'll have the answer keys for the practice test, I'll have the quizzes graded. And we'll get ready for that test.